Hello there. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm Ryan in Singapore. Welcome to our mindfulness practice. Today's topic is the power of small wins. And so, I think sometimes we don't intentionally dismiss small wins. It's just that sometimes they may not feel significant enough to celebrate. So today we're looking at how to make that practical and why to make it practical, that even these smallest actions can carry us forward. That is what the power of small wins are about. So it's easy to let small wins slip by. And the issue with allowing small wins to just slip by is that we may not begin to see our progress. It's almost like looking in the mirror every single day, right? Every time you look in the mirror, your hair is a little bit longer. Things about you are slightly different, but it can be hard to see those. And over time, one of my favorite quotes about this was something I discovered when I read the book Altered Traits by Dan Goleman and Richard Davidson, two mindfulness researchers. And the name of the chapter is After is the during for the next okay, sorry, I'll start over because it's confusing for me too. So I'm sure it's confusing for you as well. After is the before for the next during, or after is the next during's before. It's written something like that. And the idea is that whatever you do, and this is specifically related to meditation, and at least in the book, is that whatever you're doing now in your meditation practice is changing you. And I think that's the cool thing about the book Altered Traits, is that it's about substantiating the changes that meditation makes on the brain, that you can see over time what it is that's changing, to see that the physical structure of the brain is changing. And then, of course, there's a lot of other things. It's entire book is written about it. But each time you sit down for your meditation, all of your prior meditations are with you, right? That each small change, that sitting for however long you sit, is there, right? That the changes that you have made to yourself previously are being carried over to right now. And sometimes we forget that. And as these changes can be slow and gradual, it can be hard to see those changes. And so today's topic is really about that. It's about seeing if we can notice those changes, because small changes start to create momentum, and we can't help but, as we notice those, continue down this path of improvement. So, hi Rachel, hi Alexa, welcome everybody, whether it's your first time joining or you've been here many times. It's great to have you here today. So big changes may tend to feel overwhelming, right? So when we look at what it is that we're trying to achieve, what we're hoping for, it may seem impossible. Like, this isn't possible. This version of me can't accomplish that goal that I'm looking towards way down the line. And the thing that you need to remember is that this version of me isn't the same version that's going to be here tomorrow and the next day and the next day. And what may seem like it's miles and miles and miles away is, well, it is miles and miles and miles away. But what you forget is that every journey starts with one step. And I think that's a quote from Lao Tzu, the old Chinese philosopher. The quote is, "The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step." So this is how we build small but consistent momentum. So you're not going to make those big changes overnight. And I think that, this is something that, the 9 attitudes of mindfulness-based stress reduction, one of them in particular is patience, right? Things do not happen instantly, that things unfold over in their own time. That's why I love the analogy of meditation as cultivation, because, just like tending a garden, you can't make your crops grow any faster than they're naturally going to grow. That's just the process. That's just how it happens. So everything takes that amount of time, right? So it doesn't matter how much you wish, how much you try, how much you effort, like those changes aren't going to happen instantly, and each day we take a step closer. But can you notice that step that you're taking? I mean, that is key in recognizing that it happens, because this does help to keep you on the path. It helps to build confidence. Each small win helps to build that and helps us to remind ourselves, I can do this. I have the power. I have the motivation. This is possible. It may seem far away. It may seem challenging. It may even seem impossible, but it's not impossible. You can do it, and it's there in front of you, but it might just be a long way away. So can you take credit for each step that you take towards your goal? Besides momentum, there's also something psychologically that happens. And one is that, winning triggers dopamine. That dopamine creates positive reinforcement in us biologically, right? When we have a small win, we get rewarded chemically by our brains. We get that positive reinforcement, which leads to more motivation. So we see each time that we are successful, even a small success, that is more reinforcement that helps us come back tomorrow to do it again. And there's also the link with mindfulness itself. So one of the reasons to continue being mindful about this process is that mindfulness allows you to see that win. How small, how subtle, how difficult to notice sometimes those wins are. Mindfulness can help us to tune in and to become more sensitive and more aware to when it is that we win. So, some examples of these small wins are, let's say we're talking about, and next time we'll talk about the 5 pillars of the 5 pillars of mental well-being. One of them is eating well, right? A small win could be choosing to drink water instead of your sugary beverage this time, right? That can be a way to have some small win. Sitting for 2 minutes instead of skipping your meditation entirely. That could be a small win. Another one could potentially be sending a message of kindness to someone, a short one, instead of ignoring that relationship completely. Smiling to a stranger, right? Something that I've mentioned. One easy way to practice compassion outwards is just to connect with someone. It could be on the street, just to remind someone, especially maybe they're looking like they're having a hard day, is to find a way. In fact, it doesn't even have to be outwards, it can be something in your own mind. Sometimes smiling to someone might be weird. So, what's the right time to do that? In your own mind, the practice can be, I hope this person can be happy. I wish happiness for this person. So just a slight shift in consciousness can be enough. So how does this connect to last time's topic of reconnecting with your why is, well, the why is your compass, right? Reconnecting with your why, remembering why it is that we're about to do something, orients us in the correct direction. But what it doesn't do is it doesn't move us anywhere. So these small wins are ways for us, once we're oriented with the power of our intention, is to, now, I know I'm going this direction. Let's start taking those first steps, or maybe I'm 1,000 steps in. It gives us these wins help to keep us motivated to keep taking that 1,000 first step, the 10,000 first step. These are ways that we can stay aligned with what it is that we want by reconnecting with our why, and then through the power of small wins, taking the steps in the right direction that are going to help us. So even when that mountain looks really far away, each step is proof that you're living your why. So if your why is to live with peace, then one small win could be taking that breath before something challenging happens, or as you notice something difficult is happening. Just taking one mindful breath to recenter yourself in the time of difficulty. So maybe we see one small win and we go, that's not enough. It's too insignificant to mean something for me. So the last piece here is about reframing that small win. So the tiniest act of awareness is already a victory. And this is something that's that actually comes from Buddhist teaching, right? Even the smallest glimpse of awareness is already a huge victory. And likewise, you can fill a jar with drops of water. So each drop of water over time will slowly fill up the jar. So know that small wins accumulate slowly into transformation. After is the before for the next during. After is the before for the next during. Every single small win leads to progress and leads to powerful change. So the 5 pillars of well-being is featured on live events. Well, thanks for sharing that. I look forward to going through that. That one, to me, those are just simple things that we can do. Simple things that we can do that are small steps in the right direction that are going to be foundational to our mental state. So the idea here is those 5 things can help to equip us with, they may not seem related to everything else, but it just helps to put our mental state in a place where we are more equipped to start making those small wins. And Jean says, I've recently been reminded of my small wins, and I look forward to seeing that as we'll close our practice. What small wins have been showing up for you, and that's in fact something that as we do our practice today, we can have a little reflection upon. So in our practice today, I will just guide a little bit of reflection to help us to see those small wins. So speaking of our mindfulness practice, let's get into it. So sit comfortably. Find a posture that's going to support you. Could be sitting up straight. Just any posture that feels supportive of your meditation today. And so I'll encourage you to notice what your posture is like. Notice where your head is. Now, I will encourage you to have good posture. It's not like your parent trying to correct your posture. So the intent behind this is being fully awake, being fully alert. It's easier to do this work when we're fully engaged with it. It's more effective as well to do this work when we're fully engaged. And maybe you're used to not sitting this way. Again, the power of small wins. You don't have to do everything in your meditation perfectly, whatever a perfect meditation looks like, immediately. I just encourage you with mindfulness to notice how your posture affects your meditation. What's it like? What's the difference between my meditation when I'm sitting up straight compared to the meditation when I'm lying down or when I'm slouched? What is different? And the point is, you don't have to take my word for it. Test it out for yourself. Do what works for you. Notice the shoulders. Notice the neck. Notice the position of the hands. Where are your hands? Are your hands on your knees? Are they in your lap? Maybe you've chosen to lie down. Your hands are alongside the body. I'll encourage you to find stillness in your body. So see what it's like to intend to remain still. And not with a self-harshness, not with an attitude of striving, remaining still partially because of the body-mind connection. As we still the body, it helps to encourage the mind to also remain still. And so here it is. Here is the body in this posture, and the head, the shoulders, the neck, the arms, the torso, including the chest, the abdomen moving with the breath, the back, the upper back, the lower back, the pelvis, contact between the pelvis and the supporting surface, maybe feeling rooted in the earth. noticing the legs and the feet. So here I am. Here is my body. Present, alive, breathing in this moment. Finding the breath. Tuning into that physical sensation of breathing. And following it, concentrating the mind as best you can on that expansion and contraction. As if it were the very first time that you noticed your breathing. Curiously examining these physical sensations that surround the breath. If it helps, you can count the breaths. If you find yourself getting frustrated, if the mind seems overly active, you can even count the seconds of the in-breath and the out-breath. Whatever is going to help you to stay focused, to stay committed to your practice. And so now let me invite you to look at one small step you've taken lately. One small step in the right direction. So as we've connected with our why it is that we're here. And if you haven't, maybe now is a good time to do that. What is it that brings you here today? What is your intention? What are you hoping to achieve? What's that mountain in the distance? Where is it? What direction is it in? And then what is one small step you may have taken recently towards that? And if you're struggling to think of anything, your being here today is already one step in that direction. So just take that credit. I'm here. I'm doing it. This is enough. This breath is enough. This awareness is enough. I am enough. So you can continue with affirmations like these, helping to set a pattern of recognition of small wins, if that is what you need to be doing right now. To remind ourselves of our small wins. Or maybe focusing on the breath is what you need to be doing right now. So through mindfulness, through knowing ourselves, knowing our path, knowing what we need, and doing that, this breath is enough. This awareness in the present moment is enough. My effort is enough. I am enough. We'll sit together for a few more minutes, and then I'll close practice with the bell. Okay. Congratulations for making it through today's practice, and maybe take a moment here as we close to congratulate yourself as well. To remember to take credit for this small win of today. Good job, you've done it. And so we'll close practice with 3 rings of the bell. All right. Great job, everybody. And remember to take credit for these. These matter. This matters. The version of you that shows up for the next meditation is different because of what you've just done. And so that's what we're going to talk about next time. What are those 5 things that we can do to help create that foundation that is going to be a foundation for resilience, whatever. I mean, what's nice about the 5 pillars of mental well-being is that it doesn't matter what your ultimate aim is, what you're looking for down the road, what that mountain happens to be. All 5 of these things are helpful to creating a foundation to walk that path. So they're just kind of things that we can do to help our physical and mental well-being that will help us out. So thanks everybody for joining today's practice. I'm going to have a look at the chat here. It seems like there's stuff going on. Thanks, Howard, for your for these kind words. I try my best to teach simply and practical mindfulness. Congrats to you, Liz. Thanks, Michelle. Thanks, Karg. Thanks, Alexa. Jean says, my therapist reminded me of my small wins. I brought up the why, and we added my why to therapy and my why to meditate. They're related. It's to notice and to try to balance the emotional highs and lows that are part of my neurodivergent brain. She and I can see a difference is how I approach challenging emotions and how I recover after emotional situations. Thanks so much, Gene, for sharing that win. I mean, I'd say, and let me take a smaller leap to say that maybe that doesn't sound like a small win. That's now we're starting to get into territory of how those small wins start to add up. So thanks so much for sharing that. And I keep coming back. I'm grateful for you too, Laura. Thanks for being here today. And that is Sangha. Sangha for secular mindfulness practitioners is just a word that means community, basically. So it's our community here to help support each other, and that's something that it's helpful for practice for sure, to know that you aren't alone, that you have a bunch of people who are going to encourage you to show up and that have your back when something difficult's going on and can say, hey, this is, you've got this. This is possible. We can do it. You've got this. So that's what I'm saying right now. This is possible. You've got this. Look at your direction. Take a step in the right direction. And I can tell you my own, this whole series is kind of inspired by me coming off of my holiday. Over the summer, I was off on holiday. I wasn't meditating often enough and for long enough periods of time to support my mental well-being. I wasn't as fit as I should be. I was eating all kinds of delicious American foods and Canadian foods as I was in the U.S. and Canada, and I was happy about all of that. I wasn't regretting any of my decisions or judging myself for it, but I've had to come back into it and start to get back into my routines that I know are helpful for me. And over these past few weeks, as I've been supporting the five pillars of mental well-being, I guess I won't go into, I'll save those for next time. I've seen the improvement in not only my physical body, but also my determination and my mental health and my motivation. One other thing, thanks, Karg, for saying that. It's been great having you here. Welcome back. So great to have you in these sessions, and I'm happy I've been able to be here in Insight Timer for so long. I'm sure that I've changed. If you go back and watch some of the original recordings, this isn't the same teacher that was here 5 years ago. And by the way, right, and this is another great small win, is I keep talking about, I have my course coming out, my 9 Attitudes of Mindfulness-Based Stress Reduction course that I'm creating on Insight Timer, and it's easy for me to feel defeated because the course isn't yet out. But I don't feel defeated, and one of the reasons is that every weekday at least I am making progress. And that's part of my daily routine now, is to go to that course. I mean, what I'm doing now is I'm editing audio. I'm listening to what I've done. I'm editing the audio, and am I spending too long editing it? Not in my opinion, because what I'm coming up with is something that is great. I mean, it makes me smile when I listen to my track. When I listen to the tracks that are forthcoming for this course. I am trying my best to build the best course possible for you to take when it's done, and I'm not shortcutting it. I'm a little unhappy that I've missed my own arbitrary deadline that I've set for myself, but recognizing as well that it's an arbitrary deadline. And so each day that I do the audio editing, I feel good. And I'm getting that dopamine hit that we talked about earlier because I'm making progress. And soon, within the next few weeks, that course is going to be released. I can't wait to release it and show it to you guys. The best way you can help me on Insight Timer is to follow me as your teacher. That's the easiest way if you don't already. Thanks, Jill, for your donation. Much appreciated. Thank you, Jean, for your donation. That I've been bugging you about for so long. Yeah, and that's it. Again, you're not the only one. Insight Timer has been bugging me too. I mean, I used to get calls from people on the Insight Timer, from the teacher relationship board or whatever at Insight Timer to get this. And it's finally happening. Another way you can help me, of course, is to donate. So thanks if you've appreciated today's session and you have the means to do so. Of course, I would appreciate any donation that you can make. Am I Canadian? I'm American. I live in Singapore, but I'm American. I go to Canada because my brother-in-law immigrated to Canada a few years ago. So it's great. I go to Calgary, by the way. Calgary's my home base in Canada, and I am starting. I mean, I've been there twice. I'm really growing to love Calgary. Thanks, Rachel, for your donation. Thanks, Laura. I do my best. Modeling, part of being a good meditation teacher is making sure, as an MBSR teacher, one of the most important things that's stressed in our teacher training is to teach out of your own practice. And if you are not well steeped in your own practice, you shouldn't be teaching. So I should be. If I'm not a role model of mindfulness practice, then I shouldn't be here. So thanks, Laura, for saying that. I appreciate it. Thanks, everybody, for being here. We're going to be back next time in about 47 and a half hours or 47 hours from now to talk about the 5 pillars of mental well-being. And I look forward to sharing that with you. And we will be talking about how that connects to the power of small wins. So looking forward to that too. Listening to the recordings helps teachers too, for sure. All right. Take care, everybody. Let's close practice the way we do with some well wishes to ourselves, which of course can bolster our ability to hit those small wins, and to each other, which of course helps to foster our community and is practice for being compassionate to all other human beings. So let's do it. May I be happy and peaceful. May everyone watching, listening, wherever you are, I wish you all happiness and peace. May all sentient life, all human beings, everywhere in this world, may we all be happy and peaceful. Thanks again, everyone. Hope to see you soon. Come back next time for the 5 pillars of mental well-being. And until next time, take care. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.